Good Shabbos, everybody, and welcome to Congregation Beth Israel's first online service. It's wonderful to have you all with us this evening, and we hope you have a wonderful Shabbat celebration and a wonderful new year as well. We're going to use our new Reform Siddur called Mishkan Tefillah, which is a beautiful, beautiful Siddur for our service this evening. So you can follow along. Please feel free to read along, sing along, make the service your own. And I miss having everyone here right in front of me, but it's wonderful to know that you're watching tonight and we're together in that way. So we're going to begin by lighting the Shabbat candles. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu, b'mitzvotav etzivanu, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, Sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. We will continue now on page 3. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need and all who are praying at home. All who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. We will now turn to page 6, in the middle of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. On page 8, we continue with a prayer of gratitude. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. And to love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. On page 9, the top of the page, there are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, a day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. On page 10, let's sing together Hine Matov from Psalm 133. Translated, this psalm means, how good and how pleasant it is that brothers and sisters dwell together. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Let's continue singing together on page 13 from Psalm 96, Shiru Ladonai. And I will read the translation as soon as we're done singing. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Hadash. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Barechu Shemo, Basaru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Shiru Shiru Ladonai, Shir Hadash. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Barechu Shemo, Basiru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Basiru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai, all the earth. Sing to Adonai. Bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming. For God is coming to rule the earth. For God will rule the world justly, and its peoples in faithfulness. Now we will move to page 18. From Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid, a psalm of David. Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. Adonai over the mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power. The voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf. Syrian like a young wild ox. Now on page 20, we will sing several stanzas of Lecha Dodi. In our Siddur, there are 9 stanzas, and I traditionally do a few of them. I'd like to do the first 2 and the last. And Lecha Dodi is a song that welcomes the Shabbat. And we welcome Shabbat as though Shabbat were a beautiful, beautiful bride. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamayuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'letiferet P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lehu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machashava tehila, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzahala, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. We continue now on page 24 for the Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem is a beautiful, beautiful song, which is all about peace. Peace to the ministering angels of the Shabbat, that they should enter our lives, our synagogue in peace, that these angels should bless us all with peace, and then depart in peace. And our Siddur tells us that the Shalom Aleichem is actually a 17th century Shabbat table song, probably composed under the influence of Lurianic Kabbalah, which states that two angels accompany each person home from the synagogue as Shabbat begins. And I've always loved that vision, that for the time of Shabbat, I have holy angels helping to usher me into this period of peace, which is very different from the regular lives that we lead during the week. And that this angel will stay with me, these angels, I should say, will stay with me for the course of Shabbat, then leave peacefully, only to come again next week. Please sing along. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitichem l'shalom, At this point in our service, if we were here in the synagogue together and had a minyan of 10 people, we would be able to say together the Kaddish and pray for those friends, family, strangers, no matter how distant they are, who have passed during this time of the year. And we would be able to give each other support and hug each other and talk about those people we have lost. We're going to follow the traditional norms, and since at this time we do not have 10 individuals here in the synagogue, we will pass over this prayer, but of course, feel free to say this prayer either out loud or in silence at home, or just take a few moments to hold these people dear in your hearts. So now we are going to move to page 29 to read together. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the songs of her people, as we are doing tonight. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. On page 34, we have the Shema, one of the holiest prayers of our faith. And let us sing this prayer together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha. וקשרתם לאור על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We will now turn to page 39. In the middle of the page, beginning with In a World. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. On page 40, please sing with me the first stanza of Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fele. Continuing in English. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for Gaal Yisroel. Continuing on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished. A gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed. The song of peace. Now on page 43. On the top of the page, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. On page 44, let us sing together the Vishamru. This means, the people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Vishamru v'nei Yisroel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisroel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisroel od hi leolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisroel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asadonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisroel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisroel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Continuing on page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Continuing on page 47, in the middle of the page. And this, for me, this small paragraph summarizes why I come to synagogue, why this place is so important to me, and reading these words are very important, and spending time with our Jewish community here in Bloomsburg is so important, because it connects me to feelings and thoughts that are greater than myself, that have tremendous meaning, and that hold a lot of special memories as well, because I think about my father and his family and many, many, many years of ancestors before him who spent time in synagogues just like this one, singing these songs and reading these words. So I definitely feel connected to something much, much greater than myself. And I call that God, but I also call that community. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. And now we will continue on page 57. In the middle of the page. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. And we're going to end our service with singing Oseh Shalom, which is on page 62. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimrumav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, V'imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisroel. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisroel. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu v'al Kol Yisroel. Create a pure heart within me. Let my soul wake up in your light. Open me to your presence. Flood me with your Holy Spirit. Then I will stand and sing out the power of your forgiveness. I will teach your love to the lonely. The lost will find their way home. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Good Shabbos, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our congregation in our Sabbath prayers, and please come back again soon. Good night.